Hi everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, and I'm joined as always with Connor.
Hey guys.
We are going to talk about the week's TV news, because stuff happened, things of interesting natures, and some of it really interesting, actually. The first one is the best news of the week, so we're going to get straight into it. And that is that Stranger Things has been renewed for Season 2. It's coming in 2017, so next year. And not only that, not only do we have the news that it's been renewed, because there's something else coming up later in the news where it's renewed, and that's all we've got. With this,
Some details, didn't we?
we got some details, and we also have something to ponder over, because the way they announced this is they released a video that was in the style of its opening credits, the opening titles, where the text is all going around, and it formed the word Season 2 to let us know, right, Season 2 is coming. But instead of the actor names coming up as it went on, it was these random phrases, which later turned out to be, and it was confirmed by David Harbour, who plays Hopper in the show on Twitter, that these were in fact the episode titles for Season 2. So I'm going to tell you what these episode titles are. First point is that there's 9 of them instead of 8.
So they want to give us more of this show? Yeah, I'm down for that.
Cool. So the titles in order. Now, whether or not they're still in this order when they actually make the show is another question, but the order that they appear in the video are Episode 1, Mad Max. Episode 2, The Boy Who Came Back to Life. Episode 3, The Pumpkin Patch. Episode 4, The Palace. Episode 5, The Storm. Episode 6, The Pollywog, which is a real word, they didn't make that up. And I know this for sure because Word didn't autocorrect me. It's a real word. Episode 7, The Secret Cabin. Episode 8, The Brain. And Episode 9, The Lost Brother. Very intriguing. I don't want to get too much out of plot, analysis here and thinking what things could mean based on Season 1, just because, we're not in spoilers for Season 1. If you've not seen Season 1 yet, we urge you to go watch it. We will not spoil anything. The only thing that I want to point out there is they also mentioned that it's going to be set in the fall of 1984, which is about a year later after Season 1, which makes sense. But that combined with there's an episode called The Pumpkin Patch makes me think that it's going to at least be in part set over Halloween.
Yeah, I can see it.
Which excites me greatly, might I add.
Aye. The Mad Max one makes me think of Turbo Kid.
Yeah, I can see what
Because they're
you're
very, all the bikes and stuff that they're on, and just makes me think of it.
Yeah. Everyone's confirmed to be coming back, except oddly one character, and that is 11. Although I've got a feeling that they're just being sly about that for reasons.
Yeah.
But they've confirmed that everyone else is coming back. There's going to be 4 new characters. There's going to be a second town involved. Hawkins will still be a main setting, but it won't be the only main setting. James Cameron is mentioned as a Season 2 influence. And just a little tidbit to add on to that. So we've said that it's going to be set in the fall of 1984. The Terminator, which is obviously the first big movie from James Cameron, came out in October of 1984. So that could
imagine if the kids sneak in to go see it.
Oh, that'd be amazing. And even if that's not I'm also thinking maybe there'll be a Terminator-esque villain this time, who's an unstoppable killing machine kind of thing.
Yeah, rather than mystery.
Yeah.
Actually have something tangible as a threat.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it'll actually be a robot. I'm just saying it'll be someone unstoppable who's a force of nature kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or the other thing I was thinking is the reference to James Cameron could be more of an aliens thing, and it could be this time it's war.
Yeah, I kind of think maybe the idea of how his sequels are often very different to the first ones in the franchise.
Yeah, where they blow up and they're more
and they just take it in a different direction.
Because they also mentioned the Upside Down will be explored further with the possibility of multiple monsters. And that's all we'll say there, because I don't want to spoil anything in Season 1 for people who haven't watched it yet. But I just encourage you to go check out Season 1 of Stranger Things on Netflix, because it's a fantastic
if
show.
you haven't watched it, just go and do it as soon as you possibly can, because it's probably the best new thing this year.
Yeah. So, that's the big news at the start of start of the show.
It's all downhill from here.
Well, next up, still good news. SyFy have renewed Killjoys for season 3. That'll come in 2017. They also renewed Dark Matter, which we don't cover, but Killjoys specifically, because we do review that.
They're very much a pairing, though, aren't they, in terms of their programming block?
Yeah, they always seem to come at the same time, and no sexual pun intended. And so they're both been renewed, and that means Killjoys season 3 will be here next year. Nothing else to say. Didn't give us anything else. Just it's coming back. Next up, something that I am not particularly fussed with, but we do cover it, and Connor will have more of a inkling to care, and that is Game of Thrones has cast Jim Broadbent in a mystery role for season 7. Jim Broadbent, of course, many people, especially internationally, will know him from Harry Potter and possibly Hot Fuzz. If you're in the UK, you probably also know him very well as Detective Slater from Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah.
How do you feel? I mean, you watch Game of Thrones, so how do you feel about it?
I'm down for it. He's a solid actor. You know, why not?
Great big bushy beard. That's
exactly
one of his lines from Hot Fuzz. In case you're thinking I'm just going nuts.
He's what, Slughorn in Harry Potter, isn't he?
Aye, there you go.
Just because that maybe more people have seen that.
Oh yeah. And I feel like Hot Fuzz has got a lot of international cred, especially amongst people who might, watch reviews of things on YouTube. They're more likely to have seen Hot Fuzz.
That is true.
So yeah, but Jim Broadbent, he's a good actor, so that's a nice grab for Game of Thrones. Now let's get to new shows, because we have, how many do we have here? 1, 2, 3. We've got 4 new shows that have been announced.
It's this time of year already.
It's not that time of year. This time it usually comes at like February or March. That kind of.
They're starting early. I don't know if that's a good thing, that it's like, oh, there won't be as much, or it's just like, nah, this is just it now. It's just an onslaught from now until then.
I think there's so many like cable and streaming services now that all do their own content that there's just a constant influx of things.
Yeah.
Which is great for us in a way, but also life-threatening in other ways. So, but first up, we have a new Marvel show in development.
Oh, we do?
Yeah. New Warriors, which is being developed by Marvel, and the lead character of New Warriors, which will be an ensemble show, it's going to be a half-hour comedy, and it's going to be led by Squirrel Girl.
You know, kind of find it hard to care about this too much, but there's some very vocal support for Anna Kendrick to be the role of Squirrel Girl. Now, if they can somehow get that for a sitcom, that's it. They have me forever.
Yeah, it's Marvel and ABC Studios. Now, when I first seen this news in the middle of the week, just, casually noticing it was there, I thought it was in development for ABC itself, but in actual fact, they're shopping for a network right now.
Okay.
So it could be on a network, or it could be on a streaming service. They say they're just looking for a home for it right now. But, yeah, so it's going to be a half-hour comedy, which is interesting, because we know they already have Damage Control in the works, which is based on the people who come in and clean up all the debris after like a superhero fight. We know that's going to be a comedy, so there's possibly 2 sitcoms coming from Marvel.
It feels like a bit of a reaction to Powerless. Powerless coming.
Which one?
Does DC's one.
No, which one of these sounds like a reaction to
like both
Powerless?
of them in a way. Like because the first one did already, because it's just a very similar style of thing.
Well, here's the thing. Damage Control is a comic book. That did exist in the comics. And I'm not entirely sure that Powerless was announced first. Powerless might have been after.
Right, okay.
I'm not sure. This one obviously is fresh. This one's brand new. So
yeah.
You may have a point here. But
I thought Powerless was announced before Damage Control. Maybe I'm wrong.
I have no idea. But I'm saying I have no inkling one way or the other, so I can't.
Yeah.
So, but it sounds fine. It's weird. We're at a point now with Marvel. We've had forgetting Agent Carter, which is came and went, right? We've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We've had 2 seasons of Daredevil, and we've had a season of Jessica Jones. They've announced so much more stuff. There's more stuff announced coming than what we've actually had so far.
There's so much announced that I can't get excited for any of it anymore.
Yeah, there's so much of it, because on top of the obvious Luke Cage and then Iron Fist and then Defenders and then Punisher, which they've also announced is in development, we also have Cloak and Dagger at Freeform, we have Runaways at Hulu, and we now have this New Warriors, which is shopping around, and Damage Control, which is still in the works.
And more seasons of Daredevil and Jessica Jones.
Well, yeah, and more of them, obviously.
Yeah. But I'm saying they're what's actually confirmed.
Yeah, they're confirmed to be having more seasons, that's true.
Yeah. So that's like 10 seasons of stuff to come.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, Netflix does sort of roll them out in a reasonable basis. So it's not like... Because it feels like DC has more in a weird way because they have so many shows like that are on every week.
Yeah.
But Marvel actually have way more stuff announced. But, yeah, so there you go. Which has actually reminded me of something that I didn't put in the news. So there will be an addition at the end of this. Because there's a DC show in development this week. And it wasn't in my news. It occurred to me just there. So that'll
Hang
be...
on. You forgot DC stuff.
Come on, it's Black Lightning. Come on, let's not pretend it's...
Look, I know what it is, but that is no excuse.
Come on, just...
Your job here is to collect and collate all the news for everything relevant. And this is something, DC, you have a passion for, and you forget that.
It's not so much forgetting. I'm going to blame Variety, because typically what I do for the news is I will look past through Variety's week of news, and it's entirely possible I scrolled past it, but I'm going to say that they missed it, so shame on them.
Well, you should correlate your information with multiple sources.
Oof, that sounds like a lot of work. But no, we'll have the DC story at the end. So next up, Fox have greenlit a pilot called Ghosted, which is going to be a half-hour comedy series, which is going to star Craig Robinson and Adam Scott, and it's going to be essentially a comedy version of the X-Files, where Robinson plays Leroy Wright, who is like a skeptic, and he's hilarious, apparently, according to this description. And
Should hope so in your comedy.
Adam Scott is a genius true believer in the paranormal, and they're hired by a organisation called the Underground Investigative Service to look into the rampant, unexplained activity in Los Angeles, all while uncovering a larger mystery that could threaten the existence of the human race.
I'm down. I like both these people.
Yeah.
Especially in comedic roles.
Yeah. I like both these people too. So, it sounds like a fun show. It sounds like it's not just a typical sitcom.
Yeah, there's the potential for it there, 'cause I think it was last week we spoke about how often when sitcoms have a gimmick, it can work against them.
Yeah. Here though, it doesn't, like, I feel this is different from regular sitcom gimmicks though, because this sounds less like a gimmick, and it just sounds like, oh, we're doing something that would normally be an hour-long show as a comedy.
Yeah, I think when it's a gimmick, it feels like where it has a finite idea, whereas this feels like, oh, they can solve this mystery, but there's always going to be something else.
Yeah, that sounds like it could be an ongoing plot, and it sounds like it could keep having more plots, whereas, oh, she talks to her dog. Sounds a bit more, one note. So I'm hopeful. So that's Ghosted, and that's coming from Fox. It's just a pilot order, but I imagine that come pilot season early next year when they're announcing
we'll hear more,
all of their shows that are coming up, this will be one that might pop up. Next up, TNT has ordered a pilot, and it's based on Let the Right One In. Which, if you don't know that is a Swedish book from, I believe, 2004. It was made into a Swedish film in 2008, which is a fantastic film. I highly recommend it. And it's about a young boy who's about maybe 12 years old, who gets bullied at school and generally has kind of a sort of sad, miserable existence, but he befriends a girl who looks his age but is actually a vampire. And it's about their relationship, and I won't say much more than that, I don't want to go into spoilers, but it's very good. It's one of the best vampire works of fiction of the last decade, I'd say. It's
probably my favourite vampire film of all time.
It's up there for me. It's in my top 5. I'd certainly say that. It was also remade as an American film a few years later called Let Me In, and that was actually not bad either. Like, it's kind of this weird thing where that film's pretty good, but the original's better, so I always watch the original. If I'm in the mood for that story, I'm going to watch the original.
but it's still not bad.
It's still no, it's
It's
that
better. It's better than most remakes. Is what
Matt
you're saying.
Reeves directed it. It's a good movie.
Okay.
But the original's better. The original's just got a bit more atmosphere and a bit less shitty CG. So, it's just a bit better. So, yeah, so they're doing it as a series. And the funny thing is, as much as I'm like, well, do we need a third version of this story? I'm not so sure we do. But at the same time, if I imagine this as a 10-episode season, like the story of the movie over 10 episodes, I can see it. I can see how it would develop.
Yeah. Because you can really focus in on the relationship in a TV show.
You can, and the whole idea of like, obviously she's a vampire and she's feeding on people in the town, and that's part of the plot is that there's cops investigating these like murders or these missing people. Like you can see that playing out over a season as well. You can see them getting closer and that being a big point of tension.
Still feels like a limited series though.
It feels like a one season thing, and that's where I'd worry. I'd worry that okay, maybe they make a great season out of that show, out of that book, out of that movie. Then you have season 2, which is going to be set after it, and where do they go from there? But with the right people behind it, I could see it working.
Yeah, the story ends on a note where, keep it spoiler free. It's open for more story to take place.
Yeah. There's certainly an avenue for more.
Yeah.
Afterwards. So I'm not going to say that I'm excited or that I'm 100% behind it, but at the same time, I can see it given
cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I can see there being results from this.
TNT. I've only seen one show from TNT, but it was all right.
Well, here's the thing about TNT is they're making a big push, and it wouldn't surprise me if this becomes part of their horror block, which they are getting ready for next year with the new Tales from the Crypt and the other 2 shows, which I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but they're wanting like a 2-hour block of horror programming a week. And I can see this being one of the shows that they slot into that block.
Yeah, especially if they want to keep the block year round.
Yeah. Because I imagine if it's always going to be 2-hour long shows that maybe run, like say, 10-episode seasons,
That's what, 8 shows a year.
And they've already announced, I think, 3 shows, including Tales from the Crypt. Assuming that's an hour long, which it might not be because the old Tales from the Crypt wasn't. The old Tales from the Crypt was half hour. But I seem to remember it being announced as an hour long for this.
I vaguely think I do as well.
Yeah. So they've already got 3. So if this is like the second one for the second batch, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
I can see it working.
Because to get a year round with two blocks, right? Like 2-hour blocks. So 2 shows per block, 10-episode seasons. You want probably 40 weeks of programming over the year, given when you have breaks and stuff.
Yeah, Christmas break and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So probably want 8 shows total.
Yeah, I can see it.
So they're halfway there, if that's the case.
And given that this block's not even starting until sometime next year, this could be an early enough announcement that this isn't in the second batch of shows. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Next up, spinning over to Netflix, Allison Brie has been cast in a comedy show called Glow, which is based on the Women's Wrestling League from the 1980s. Glow stands for Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, and Allison Brie. So it was a real thing, but Allison Brie is going to play a fictional character who is a down and out out of work actress who sees this as her last chance of some sort of success. So I think she joins the league. So I like Allison Brie.
Obviously, it's not to like.
Exactly. I love Community. So it comes from the creator of Orange Is the New Black, which I hear good things about. I've not seen myself.
Same.
No, I'm optimistic.
My only concern is if a lot of the comedy plays on referencing the wrestling world.
I don't think it will. I feel like this will just be like any like boxing movie or any movie about like a hockey or a baseball. Like you don't feel like, oh, I don't get this because I don't follow that sport.
It probably will, but there's always just a nagging concern whenever I hear something like this that sometimes there are these things like that.
Even the movie The Wrestler can happily be enjoyed. It's a fantastic movie, so I highly recommend you do watch it without any knowledge of wrestling. You don't have to know anything about it. Anything you need to know is clearly shown to you.
Okay.
in the movie, and I expect it'll be similar with this. So at least I'd hope so. So yeah. So I believe that's everything except the one thing I missed, which was of course was the DC show. So Black Lightning has been developed, but they don't have a network yet. I don't have it in front of me. I will get it up in just a second. But Greg Berlanti is one half of the development team.
Because of course he is.
Of course he is. But they don't have a home for it. They were shopping around.
Maybe CW are feeling, maybe we got enough now.
Yeah, CW have 4 nights a week of stuff, so they probably...
Yeah, unless they want to go all out and go for a fifth week.
They could.
Which, fifth night, sorry, not fifth week.
Yeah, fifth night.
You never know. You just never know.
Yeah, let me just give you the info. I don't want to sell this story short because I didn't have it ready. So it's Greg Berlanti. He's developing it with the game and Being Mary Jane creator Mira Brock Akil and her husband Salem Akil. I can't say I'm familiar with their work. I've never heard of either of those shows.
Me either.
So I have no inkling of what this would be like. But yeah, so here's a sort of description here. It centers on Jefferson Pierce. He made his choice. He hung up the suit and his secret identity years ago. But with a daughter hell-bent on justice and a star student being recruited by a local gang, he's pulled back into the fight as the wanted vigilante and DC legend Black Lightning.
I kind of like the idea that there's no origin nonsense. This isn't the start of a career.
It's him coming back in because he's got a daughter and he's worried about her.
It's different. It's a bit of a unique spin to what we have on most of other superhero stuff.
And I'm wondering if this is almost going to be DC's answer to Marvel having Luke Cage, in the sense that this is something that's going to be like about mainly black characters, and this husband and wife team are black. So they've got a black writing team, creative force behind it. If this is their equivalent to Luke Cage.
It very much sounds like playing like gang culture stuff was brought up there.
Yeah.
So I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wondering where this will fall. I think it would maybe fit in CW on that Friday. I'm not saying it should, but like.
Yeah, but it could also really benefit from a cable slot.
It could. Actually, what do Warner Brothers have in terms? Well, they have HBO. I don't think it should go to HBO. That seems maybe too...
Seems a bit too far, doesn't it?
Do they have any basic cable stuff?
Feels something like Stars, maybe.
Stars. I could see it on something like FX.
Yeah, FX.
That said, though, it could still work on a network if they... It just obviously wouldn't be as violent or whatever, but... no, I mean, I have to admit, as being a DC guy, Black Lightning, and I joked earlier that I didn't care as much because it's Black Lightning. What I really mean to say is that Black Lightning is not a character that I've, encountered much. He's not like a huge name, but maybe a show like this would make him a name.
Hey, it worked for Iron Man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it's true. I never heard of Iron Man before that movie came out.
He was a B-lister, wasn't he, at best? And then
C-lister.
and then now look at him.
Yeah. So Black Lightning is in development, but with no current network. So yeah, we saved that.
Good job.
Yeah. Hey, I was the one that remembered it as well. So.
Hey, it's your job to write it down.
Had we got to the end and I not mentioned it, would you have brought it up?
You never know. I just might.
No, you wouldn't know. You're a liar. You're a straight up liar.
Something might jog my memory. You don't know that.
Oh dear. So yeah, that's all this week's news. I had actually quite a nice mix of things. We got some new shows to talk about. Stranger Things, Renewal. Yeah. Solid week of happenings. So yeah, a bit more news next week. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of all this week's news. What excites you the most? Are you a Black Lightning fan? Let us know. If there is Black Lightning fans out there who specifically really love Black Lightning, let us know. Are you excited about this? I'd be curious to hear. So, yeah, that's this week's news. So, get us on Twitter at mild_fuzz. Look out for all the reviews, which will be going up over the next week or so. We have more Mr. Robot. It's quite a couple of weeks, but we are going to be doing the first 2 series of Black Mirror over the next couple of weeks because season 3 is coming next month, so we're doing retrospective reviews of all those episodes. All of which Connor had never seen before, and I'd only seen the first series, so So you can get some discussions on those.
I like how you're using series and season interchangeably on this show here.
Well, see, this is the thing. I think this is a weird example as well because season 3 is season 3 because it's Netflix. It's USA produced.
But the first 2 are British series.
And I also think, I'd say a good majority of our audience are probably from the US. So I want to make it clear what we're talking about. So we're talking about seasons 1 and 2.
It's just the way you said series 1 and 2 for season 3, and then you swap back to series. You're really just interchangeable on this one.
Yeah. See, if I just confuse people enough, they'll not question anything.
I'll just watch everything. Yeah.
That's the plan. So, yeah, if you want to catch up in Black Mirror before the new season starts, that said, you don't have to, because it's an anthology. Each episode's a completely standalone story. You can just jump into season 3 if you want to. But we're going to be reviewing all the old episodes over the next couple of weeks. So look up for that. And, so like and subscribe, all that jazz. Helps us out a lot. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you next time.